I actually met, long story short, I met a guy, a local guy that's into reefing, and he watched one of my videos and where I mentioned something about needing or possibly being interested in a skimmer. So he messaged me, and I've been talking to him now on a regular basis, and he has had the Hydor, the SlimSkim Nano skimmer, and I did some reading on it and read some reviews and whatnot, and read a lot of great things about the skimmer. So, you know what? I told him, I said, sure, I'll go ahead and try it out. And then also he had the Santa Monica, this is the Drop 2 scrubber, which is really cool. This is something that CJ's been trying out, and you know, this thing is, CJ's gotten good growth out of it, so I figured I might as well go ahead and try it out and see what happens. So I picked up both of these for a really good deal. He hooked me up. Likewise, he needed some pieces and some parts not very long ago. Never met him before, and decided, you know, I had these parts laying around, I'd go ahead and give them to him. I didn't need them, they weren't doing me any good. What better way to build a relationship and furthermore trade and have somebody else local in the hobby to discuss than to give them just a couple bulkheads. And now it's tenfold. We've gone back and forth, and he's definitely hooked me up at this point, and I'm very, very thankful, and I appreciate it, Spencer. It's a pleasure, man. Thank you. So back to the drop scrubber. Pretty interesting. I need to do some reading on it. But it's the Drop 2. So yeah, it's cool. So I don't know if you can notice, but I got the Coral RX out, and even better, he gave me a bird's nest. So this will be my first attempt at SPS, and to say that I'm excited is an understatement. Cannot wait to get this guy into the tank and see how he does. Right now he's in the bucket of Coral RX and salt water. So he's been in there for a little bit. I'll move him into a freshwater bucket here shortly, and we'll be good to go. Whenever Spencer brought over the bird's nest, it was on a frag plug, so I decided to eliminate the frag plug since I've done a pretty good job of that in my tank, and I glued it to a piece of rock. After that, put them into the tank, and the skunk cleaner shrimp started doing work immediately. Come over and introduced himself, and they've been pretty good buddies so far. Pretty cool. I got the bird's nest about in the middle of the tank, so pretty much directly underneath the Kessil. So it's getting real good light. It's mid to upper mid level in the tank. So far so good. And after an hour, the bird's nest started to color up. Didn't even know that this was a green bird's nest. So very excited about that. I love the colors that are coming off of them, and cannot wait to see this thing grow in this tank. Hopefully I'll have good success out of it. It's in a high flow area with a lot of light, and the skunk cleaner really likes it. All right, I got the skimmer in here with some vinegar and water, and I'm running the algae scrubber in here as well with vinegar and water. I don't know that the vinegar and water would actually do any harm to the algae scrubber. Basically, after I'm done running it in the vinegar and water, I'll just run it in straight up water. But I wanted to go ahead and get it clean. Spencer cleaned it up pretty good for me, really good, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean it again. Just the way that I am. Even if it come in brand new, chances are I'd probably run the skimmer in vinegar and water to begin with. So the downside to this is I'm gonna have to pull the Chaeto out of the system, which is fine, but I'm not gonna be able to put the lid back on the sump area of the 20 gallon whenever I put this skimmer in there because of this adjustment here. I may look into putting some type of connector or connecting the hose here and putting maybe something externally so that I can adjust the flow on it. I'm not sure, but I'd really like to be able to use the lid on it. If I can't, then oh well, no big deal. As far as the algae scrubber is concerned, I don't have a bio load really. I mean, I got 3 fish and a shrimp, but you know, we'll run it and we'll see what happens. Once again, Spencer, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Can't wait to get this stuff in the tank. I like to feed frozen food 2 or 3 times a week. I feel like the fish definitely get a benefit from it, but more so the corals do too, especially whenever I add the Celcon to it. Cyber Aquarius mentioned the Celcon a while back, so I picked some up. So what I do is I just take a frozen cube and I put it in the cup, and I actually have the indention on the cube facing up so that whenever I put the Celcon on the cube, it actually sits inside of the cube there in that indention, and the cube will thaw out and absorb as much, if not all of it, this way. And I let the cube thaw out in room temperature like this for 15-20 minutes. I don't know, it just depends. Usually I go do something, then I come back, and then all I do from here is take a little bit of tank water and try not to make a mess, but that usually always happens. Point given. Just add the tank water to the cup and stir it up. At this point the cube's already thawed out, so all I do is stir it up a little bit and then I start feeding the tank. Now all we need to do is add this to the tank. So I just take the turkey baster, and I don't turn the pumps off whenever I feed this, only because I want anything and everything in the tank to get not only the frozen food but the Celcon. And I typically try to dispense this over top of a coral, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, they, especially the zoas, as soon as they get a little bit of this around them, they close up pretty quickly. And as you can see, it does make the tank a mess. And of course, with the pumps on, there's just stuff going everywhere. But I don't mind. You know, the dotty back and the clowns come out and they have a great time. And of course, the shrimp is trying to get his own. And then you have the corals that are benefiting. So I highly recommend this. I don't feed heavy. I feed probably pellets, maybe once or twice a week, maybe. And I do the Celcon with the frozen pellet 2 times a week. So I try to feed every other day or every third day. So you know, the feeding, it just really depends on really how I'm feeling that day. I actually went ahead and turned the return pump off and the MP10 off, and it's kind of crazy looking at the tank. Of course, here you can see the A can stretched out. This is after the frozen food with the Celcon, so the A can's out, you know, feeding. But it's kind of crazy how calm everything looks whenever you turn the pumps off. And one of the things that I really like about the 20, whenever you turn the pumps off and you do top-down shots, with as shallow as the 20-gallon is, everything looks pretty crazy. It's a new look for me. You know, with the cube, it was so deep, you just really didn't get the same perspective that you get with a shallow tank. You don't see any of the corals swaying. You just get a whole new perspective from the top versus a front view. So there's the bird's nest a couple days into it. There's the toadstool. There's still a hole in the flesh of the toadstool for whatever reason, but it's not really acting aggravated by any means. It's still fully extending itself, and it's actually acting pretty normal. So I'm still keeping an eye on the hole. You can see here the bare bottom for once is pretty clean, minus the corner back there. And let's just take a look back here into the all-in-one chambers. The JBJ Refugium light is very bright, and I have the Chaeto. I mean, it's right up next to the glass, so I'm getting a lot of white spots on the Chaeto itself just because the intensity of the light. But all in all, I really like this tank. It's definitely a transition going from the cube to an all-in-one with the equipment and what I can use and can't use by not having a sump now. And it's of course, it's the same principle, but it is a smaller platform, so you just have to take that in consideration whenever you're using an all-in-one tank versus a sump tank. I'm 50-50. I really like both of them. There's pros and cons to both of them, so you just have to go with what you got and make what you got work. If you're watching my videos on a web browser, hit the gear icon next to my name and hit notify me. If you're using an iPhone and the YouTube app, hit the bell icon, and you can also hit notify me there, and you will get notifications when I put out new videos. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.